Hi guys, so I passed my AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate exam yesterday and I passed in the first attempt, and I would like to share my experience, my preparation for this exam. So this is also my first cloud certification. I have been preparing for about 1 year. I was a IT technical support for 7 years in Windows and Linux based systems, security, surveillance, etc. But I started learning cloud last year when COVID started happening. Um, so I started with Azure, Microsoft Azure, simply because I was familiar with Microsoft technologies, and then yeah, that would be easier for me. Um, I started doing the labs, watching the tutorials, and then once I felt confident, I moved to AWS because it's the big thing in cloud. So once you grasp that technology, it's easy to switch to another vendor, another provider. So the concepts are quite similar. If you know the concepts of one cloud provider, yeah, it's pretty much the same. Apart from that, they might have some newer technologies which the other might not, or naming convention may be different, etc. But it's easy to switch. And also along the way, I was creating my blogs and my YouTube channel, video tutorials. As you can see, I've got uh, YouTube video tutorials for Azure and then some other clouds. You know, the purpose of these YouTube tutorials, the purpose of these YouTube video tutorials is not to have a lot of subscribers. It's just to practice, um, you know, practice for myself. When you prepare for these video tutorials, it takes time. It takes a lot of time, and then you got to get it right. You're explaining and then doing the lab at the same time, and you're explaining at the same time, and you have to repeat it again and again until you get it right. And then of course you have to know every bit of detail for the technology that you are presenting. So that gets me to prepare more when I create these videos. That's the purpose of it, creating these video tutorials, and also my notes. So whenever I want to refer it back in the future, it is always there for little errors or little issues that I faced in the past when trying out this technology. That's a motive behind that. So that's what I prepare. And then what else? So I use a lot of free tutorials, a lot of tutorials. For example, this EduRig is a good one. Simply Learn Free Code Camp. They're the good ones, and they have a lot of Azure and AWS tutorials. And then I also watch some of the DevOps tools. In my opinion, you need to know these tools, like for example, Terraform, Kubernetes, Docker. You need to know these tools if you want to work in cloud. Uh, you cannot just know like some of the basic core technologies. No, you have to know this, and on top of that, if you want to be good at cloud, you need to know the actual tools that people are using, actual tools that are in the trend. You need to know different tools. Um, so yeah, I practice that on the um, EC2 instances. I created labs and then spend some time create some videos. So that's what I did. Try out new videos so that I get the idea how they actually work. Okay, so that was part of my preparation. Well, yeah, I just wanted to get like more knowledge. They may not come up in the exam. It's just for my knowledge sake. I tried these tools as well. These are some of the nice um, DevOps tutorials that you may want to watch. I'm sure there are a lot more than that, but these are the ones that I subscribed. And A Cloud Guru is another good resource. Unfortunately, I don't have that much money to subscribe these tutorials. So I watched YouTube's, Udemy subscriptions, uh, because they have this discounts every now and then for their tutorial subscriptions. And yeah, it's lifetime. So I subscribe to some of those every time I get the discounts. And then I try to watch these tutorial series over and over again. The reason is that when you watch the tutorials the first time, you may miss some little important things. When you repeat it like 2, 3 times, you know, that's when you grasp that every little details, which is good for you preparing for the exam. So um, I also read every some documentations, official documentations from AWS. Another thing is, I was lucky enough to land on a job, uh, which does on a the company which does cloud, specifically AWS and of course Azure. So that was lucky for me because I got to learn some technologies which actually showed up in my exam yesterday. So FSX. So I was not actually working deeply on that, but I was part of it. So I got to read the documentations, and I try to test a little bit. That gave me like a knowledge of uh, you know this technology, which helped me in the exam. So that's like for example. So it's a good if you have an actual hands-on, if you can have a chance to work at a cloud industry. So yeah, and also another thing is I prepare some sample questions. So when you prepare for sample questions, it's good that uh, you know the difference between two technologies. So and when you want to apply it, like for example, SNS and SQS, what's the difference? When do you want to apply it? What's the best scenario? If the scenario is like this, which one would you apply this? For example, and like S3, which life cycle policy. When you want to use Glacier, when you want to use IA, for example, it's good to know the difference, and it's good to know the basic concepts, the difference, and what is the circumstance you want to apply this particular technology. It's good to have that knowledge. And what else? What else I prepared? Of course, I did a lot of labs before that. So whatever labs that I could find online. I practice that. I create a easy to instance. Of course, another thing I forgot to mention, you have to you have to create this console account. You just need a credit card. You don't need to spend a single dollar. Just limit your budget on both Azure and AWS, and then yeah, start doing the labs. Just lab out. So that will give you the actual hands-on. Okay, so that will help you a lot with your exam. Uh, and try to go manual rather than just doing clicking next. Like for example, policies. You can apply different policies. Try and see what the changes in JSON, what they actually do. Like just take out some lines and see how it affects, for example, in the billing console, or see what these allow rules and deny rules, what they do when you take out the lines, when you add the lines, you know. So that will help you a lot. This is what you need in the exam. So in the exam, there will be 60 plus questions over 2 hours, and then you will have, I believe you will have enough time to uh, go through all these questions. So 65 divided by, over 140 hours, I think, 40 minutes, I think. So that's like you pretty much have like a little bit over 2 minutes for each question. That is more than enough if you have like a concept, if you have like a idea of these technologies. And then the thing about AWS uh, exam questions is that they're pretty long. They explain you, okay, they don't just tell you this is the technology, this is the issue, and what is the solution. They don't just tell you like that. They will tell the storyline, and once you finish reading the storyline, you forget what they wanted already. So these are like long questions. So it's a good idea to practice these questions, like, and get to the point. So what is a point? Rather than reading like the whole line, what is the point? What do they want? Okay, they're talking about S3, or they're talking about DynamoDB, or they're talking about stateful stateless. So what is the point? What do they want? So just try to get the point, and then doesn't match with the answers. Which answer will be the most suitable? So that is a strategy that you want to practice with the exam questions. If you just go through, just reading the whole questions at the end of the questions, you forgot what they say. So that is a design of AWS questions apparently. Um, and then I did my AWS exam online. I did online proctoring because I didn't have I couldn't get the exam centers. I mean, like exam centers were not open at my place due to COVID lockdown. So I had to prepare my spot in my room. So you cannot have anything. You cannot have a second monitor. It's only the exam FAQs you can read out. You can read that. Get your phone ready, but not at your hands reach. Your identity, your license, etc. You have to check in. I think like that's half an hour before the exam time. So yeah, that's about my preparation and my experience with this exam. And then I also wish you all good luck preparing for exam, and I hope you nailed it. Cool.